Yeah, it's kind of weird how that Admiral Byrd, man, he went down there right before NASA was formed for the last time. It's pretty crazy the dates. Like I mean, immediately NASA is formed like right after or before, like the year before or after that they released this Antarctic Treaty where all these countries agree nothing happens in Antarctica and nobody can go there but people in the treaty governments. And then NASA, like now we're all in outer space. It's like, let's go to space and there's nothing down here in Antarctica.
This isn't happening. Everyone look away, please. Nothing to see here.
After they just told us Admiral Byrd slips up and says there's like uranium down there and enough coal to run the world for quite some time.
Of an atomic war.
We'll stay there forever.
Admiral, you speak of the resources of Antarctica. What are they? What are the natural resources there?
Well, we've found enough of coal within 180 miles of the South Pole in a great ridge of mountains. It's not covered with snow, enough to supply the whole world for quite a while.
Well,
that's the coal. Now, there's evidence of many other minerals. We are pretty sure there's oil. Now, that coal shows the bottom of the world. Now, by far the coldest spot in the world. Where that coal is gets 100 below zero in the winter.
And all of a sudden, oh, wait, we got to stop letting people go down here and let's get them into space. And we're going to go to the moon and, hey, now Mars, oh my God, our future's up there. And let's just keep everybody looking up there.
Nothing to see here. Look up.
No way, man.
I think everything to do with NASA is something to do hiding in Antarctica. Whether it's whatever, some of these crazy ideas, who knows? It could be, they could have found something about an ice ring containing us all. It's not the bottom of the globe, who knows? Maybe that's where UFOs come from if you go with that idea. It isn't from outer space. It's over the ice wall. Maybe they didn't go with the oil deal like we did, and they went with solar and electrical, more like what Tesla was into. So now they have like superior spacecraft type vehicles that can cross the ice ring and get here. And those are really aliens. Hey, it would solve a lot of those questions about how they manage to live and light travel and wormholes and all this craziness we subscribe to. All this science fiction that we somehow in the back of our minds feel it could be real. Probably is, right? Yeah, that Admiral Byrd stuff's pretty crazy. The guy goes down there chasing Nazis and stuff, and next thing you know, they send a whole military fleet down there with an aircraft carrier and everything. And that's it. Oh, and the first thing the guy does is establish the 777th chapter of the Freemason Church down there. They got of all the important science, I guess they're doing. You know, they do science now. That's what they call it. We're doing science. Like, yeah, you used to do magic. I know you can do magic, but we never said do science. Now we're doing science in space, kids. Or it's a weird thing I've noticed. But anyway, that's just me. I'm crazy, but. Yeah, they got the Mason Lodge down there. They had to get one of those, the 777. Isn't that odd, too? I mean, you know, it goes on and on. But that's that conspiracy theory. It's true. It's true. I mean, but are you crazy for believing that? That's kind of odd. You know, and then all of a sudden we're out in space. We got to take us somewhere where they can't see. We don't. They never want anything anywhere where we can really see with our own two eyes. You know, so they put us out in space. And all that shit's fake. All that shit that we keep catching them do now. It's all to keep us from knowing some really big secret. There's some big hole that they're dumping a lot of our resources in. And I mean, obviously it's NASA in this reality. To anyone who doesn't prescribe to this idea that our future is on a red-hot burning planet we can't even breathe on, realizes that there might just be a fantasy up there in space. And I think maybe if there is something else that they're doing besides just blowing our minds with space and helping with this idea that we came out of mud skippers' asses, because, you know, space is the other, that's the other evolution. I mean, that's just a reinforcement of the mud skippers' keister about the whole thing. It's space, and it's the Big Bang and the Earth thing, you know.
Final frontier.
Yeah, it all ties in. That's the two big ones, and that could be just their motive alone with space, is to keep us, like we talked about before, separated from our souls, our ability to think that we're special, you know, we have something important. And it keeps us numb once you get into their mindset, that programming of, you know, really just that exact thing. You're nothing eventually, and that's what it comes down to. And you'll stop thinking and emoting with the people around you at that level. And you'll just start believing everything they show you. You know, everything they say, it's easier that way. With the fluoride wrapped all around your pineal glands, keeping you from receiving that glow, that energy. They chop your hair off. That's our antennas. That's a whole nother story. We got to get into that some other time. But I mean, this stuff isn't fantasy. It's real science. Is actually the ironic thing, is that's what's busting them wide open, is real science. Right. People who can separate this scientism from what real science is, and start wondering where some repeatable, demonstrable evidence of anything they say is. And that's why they went with Einstein and discredited Tesla right out into, you know, obscurity, was because everything Einstein did was theory. He never did an experiment.
Right.
And he'd just make up numbers like the universal speed limit to fit everything he imagined together. And they went with that, and we've been dummies ever since. We've just been, we have to accept whatever they say. That is the reality now. They just make it up as they go along. And what they can't finish with math, we just love to imagine is infinity. The beauty and wonder of our majestic nothingness. It just goes on and on forever. When they can't tidy up the math, they just blow it into outer space. It's ridiculous. Oh, Byrd, yeah. Well, it's funny about Admiral Byrd. I watched that Long Johns or whatever Chronicles interview, and he slips up in the video. I mean, this is an admiral in the Navy, and this guy goes on about the things I guess he could tell, like, you know, the coal. He says they found enough coal in a mountainside, enough to supply the country for the world for quite some time. But the thing is, he slips up and says, and also signs of uranium. And then in one of the clips you watch, one of the videos that's out there, they leave this out, but in a longer one, they show this where he says that, and then he like asks to retract the plutonium thing.
That's right.
He says he doesn't want the whole world in an uproar down there fighting over plutonium.
That's the coal. Now there's evidence of many other minerals. We are pretty sure there's oil. Now that coal shows the bottom of the well. Now by far the coldest spot in the world. Where that coal is gets 100 below zero in the winter.
Well,
it was once tropical. So we think there's oil there, and there's evidence, probably uranium there.
Is it a secret? Is there uranium there? That would be the only thing that would be practical to actually go after, I suppose. Everything else would be economically unfeasible, wouldn't it?
Well, as we recklessly expend our resources, the time will come when we'll have to go after that stuff down there. Well, you know, I avoided what you said about uranium. I'm not sure about that. I don't want to have the world fighting over the Antarctic.
And Robert, is there a competition among other nations?
Now, But they just, back then, they threw these reels in a box somewhere and they get lost up in Hollywood. They never realized people were just going to be able to look this stuff up. Freeze frame it, back it up, check where they came from. And now we can see this stuff. They're hiding something big in Antarctica. And this whole thing with what? Emperor penguins. That's the only thing down there, emperor penguins. So, I mean, hey, they're cute and cuddly. I like to watch an hour thing on them, you know, every 5 years, but I'm not going to go to Antarctica to check them out. You know, hey, I don't want people clubbing them to death, you know, but I really don't. It's cold down there, the penguins, you know, that's pretty neat, but, and who wants to go down there, right? And then you can't. I mean, besides that, going to the one little cruise ship spot and taking pictures of the penguins, what else is there? Freezing to death? Oh, and a Mason Lodge. Don't forget the 777. You know, the good old...
Yeah, you couldn't go exploring there if you want to.
Yeah, there's nothing there. You know, oh, except for the coal mountains, apparently, with, again, about... Yeah, I mean, they didn't mention this, but we all know what grows in coal, right? Does anybody know?
Diamond.
Diamond.
Diamonds, ding, ding, ding. They got mountains made of coal at the bottom of the earth. Has probably found out there was diamonds down there, like, uh-oh, diamonds aren't worth anything anymore, people. We gotta keep this hush-hush, you know? Everybody's fighting to show how much they love her and get the biggest one, not if there's mountains made out of them.
Right.
50,000 miles that way. You know what I mean?
Cha-ching.
Let's get an enough oil reservoir to probably make oil free. I mean, you'd be like, how come you guys are charging so much for gas for me to get to work? The bottom of the earth's made out of it. It's like a cup for the heaviest shit or something. They hit something, man, and they just blasted our minds off into outer space. Alright, so we hope we gave you guys something to think about here for the New Year's. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Alright, from the True Earthers. We're gonna got a New Year's resolution out here. It's called Wake Up! Okay, check this stuff out. Think about this for a minute. Think about the idea that you might be being misled about everything you see and hear, as it's our reality presented to us. Well, Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.